Sammy Spider's First Purim, written by Sylvia Rouss and illustrated by Katherine Janus Kahn. Snip, snip, snip. Sammy Spider opened one sleepy eye as he peered down from his web. Beneath him at the kitchen table, Josh was using scissors to cut a shiny piece of fabric. Snip, 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 snip. Now Sammy was wide awake. "Mother," he shouted, "what is Josh doing?" A startled Mrs. Spider woke up from her sound sleep. "Sammy, can you please speak a little more softly?" She gazed downwards. "He's making a costume for Purim. Josh will wear it tonight when the family goes to synagogue to hear the story of how Queen Esther saved the Jewish people from the wicked Haman." "Can we go to synagogue and hear the story too, Mother?" Sammy asked. "Silly little spider," said Mrs. Spiders. "Spiders don't go to synagogues. Spiders spin webs." Bang! Bang went the cupboard door, drawing Sammy's attention to the kitchen counter where Mrs. Shapiro had placed a bowl, flour, sugar, oil, eggs, and a can of poppy seed filling. "Mother," yelled Sammy, "what is Mrs. Shapiro making?" "Please use your soft voice," Mrs. Spider reminded Sammy. "Mrs. Shapiro is baking delicious three-cornered cookies called Hamantaschen. She will put some into baskets and Josh will deliver them to the neighbors." "Can we bake Hamantaschen too?" asked Sammy. Mrs. Spider said spiders don't bake Hamantaschen. Spiders spin webs. Crack! Mrs. Shapiro broke the eggs and added them to her bowl. Whirr went the beaters. Sammy watched Mrs. Shapiro roll the dough and cut it into circles. He listened to the hum of the can opener as she opened a can of poppy seed filling, put a spoonful in the center of each circle, and pinched 3 corners to make a triangle. Suddenly, Sammy heard squirt, squirt, squirt coming from the kitchen table. Josh was squeezing glue from a bottle onto a folded paper plate. "Mother," screamed Sammy, "what is Josh doing now?" "Sammy, please speak quietly," said Mrs. Spider. "Josh is making a noisemaker called a grogger. Tonight he will twirl and spin it whenever he hears Haman's name." "Can I spin a grogger too?" asked Sammy. "No, spiders don't spin groggers. Spiders spin webs." Sammy lowered himself onto a strand of webbing to get a closer look. He listened to the soft tinkling of the glitter as Josh sprinkled it onto the glue. Josh filled the grogger with buttons. As he reached for the last handful, Sammy scurried inside the grogger. Just then he heard a loud crunch as Josh stapled the grogger shut. Josh gave the grogger a practice shake, and the buttons rained down on Sammy. From inside the grogger, Sammy shouted, "Mother!" Honk! Mr. Shapiro beeped the horn as he pulled the car into the driveway. "Dad's home," called Mrs. Shapiro. "Time to get ready for the services." Josh left the grogger on the table and ran to put on his costume. "Mother!" Sammy shouted again. Mrs. Spider couldn't see Sammy, but she could hear him. "Where are you?" she called. "I'm here, Mother," Sammy hollered, "inside the grogger." Mrs. Spider hurried over to the grogger. Luckily, she noticed that one of the staples was loose. She tugged and pulled until it finally came out. Sammy crawled through the tiny opening into his mother's arms. Just then, Josh came back into the kitchen, grabbed his grogger, and dashed out. "Oh, Mother," squealed Sammy, "don't you wish we could have a grogger for Purim?" Mrs. Spider laughed. "We don't need a grogger. We have you, Sammy. You are our very own noisemaker."